Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is May 19th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing great. I gotta say, I was happy to see, the chief really bring order to Quail Hollow and lay down the law.
It was a good weekend for law and order. Restored at Quail Hollow, produced a great champion. I would say a pretty good test of golf on the weekend, and fair. Above all, fair.
It was fair.
And that's what we want. We want law and order, and we want fairness, and we have the best in the world taking home the Wanamaker Trophy at the PGA Championship. A good Sunday, a great champion. Got tight there for a minute. The Green Mile was rendered insignificant, moot. At least at the end, it was, could have putted his way up the fairway and he almost did on 18. He dropped a shot there. It didn't matter. He had a 6-shot lead. But it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was the Masters in that respect where, everything's coming down to every putt, every 10 seconds, but it was a good major championship. And we are on a run of Scottie and Rahm and Xander and Rory, Bryson winning the U.S. Open. There was a time there, I want to say 6-7 years ago, where everybody was winning. It was like their first major. I can't remember. It was like the Molinari stretch maybe, and or Henrik Stenson, somewhere like 13 to 16, somewhere in there. And we are not that anymore. Golf is not that. You might get a Xander who wins for the first time, but has been an elite top 5 player in the world. And, when you go to a place like Quail Hollow, and especially a PGA Championship, I would say I kind of bottle that as an entire championship. It seems like we're going to get the best in the game, and we got the very best today.
Yeah, I mean, this is a first for Scottie. It's his first, I believe, wire-to-wire win in a major. Went from the first round. He was the leader at 2 under, as proclaimed by this podcast.
This is Ryan Gerard erasure. Stop it. Where did he finish?
I mean, the reality, there are a couple stretches of golf that won this tournament for Scottie Scheffler. I think this was a very difficult golf course. And usually when you see a soft golf course, it's hard to separate because everything's, when something's soft, it just makes the fairways bigger, the greens bigger, less penalty to shots. The greens were pretty firm all week, but this was as you could look at the leaderboard, it was so hard to separate. And to me, there were 2 stretches of golf that separated Scottie Scheffler. The way he finished the first round, when he really had nothing that day. He was
he had mud balls.
He had mud balls, and he was having trouble with the mud balls. But the end of that round and the way he finished Saturday's round, those were the 2. I would say, Saturday will go down. That'll be a stretch of golf that I remember. But also just the way, playing with Rory and Xander, everybody kind of puttering and billowing out there.
Yeah.
And Scottie just kind of shifting it into gear and just making the most of a shit day,
2 under, 69.
Yeah. And leading the tournament.
And leading the tournament by some. Ryan Gerard finished T8, by the way. Props to him, Gerard. So he did hang around.
Ryan Gerard's first career top 10 in a major. Joaquin Niemann's first top 10
there we
career
go.
major.
They're the same.
Everybody knew it was going to happen at the same time for both those guys.
Scheffler, I think we will look back on Saturday, those last 5 holes, as some of the great major championship golf we'll see in our lifetime, and deservedly so. And so often we get, the Masters certainly got overshadowed by the Sunday roller coaster that was. But, I'll think a lot of those Saturdays, you think about the Hideki one, right? Coming out of the rain delay. He kind of won the Masters coming out of that Saturday rain delay when he went crazy from about 15 or even 13 in. I can't remember exactly. Rory, how about Rory this year making 5 threes in a row on Saturday, and Jim Nantz saying he's out of his mind right now. So those things can happen on Saturday, and we've talked extensively about the 2 eagles he made at Hoylake. It's like one of my favorite articles I got to write. It was about that, and this one I think was better than all of them. When you look at it, when you look at the stats, when you look at the eye test, when you listened to the players who were in it yesterday about those crosswinds. We're talking about Saturday night. It was like the crosswinds, the firm greens. So like Tommy Fleetwood talked about this morning. It was hell. Bryson was sort of in a blender. Obviously, he got blown out to sea there and kind of put him too far out of reach. And then you had Scottie Scheffler, like by strokes gained, and Data Golf said he basically hit 8 perfect shots, gained 5+ shots in a 5-hole stretch, and that really allowed him to shoot a 71 today. Throw that last bogey at the last out the window, but it gives you the cushion to miss 8 of 9 shots left to start, having your worst strokes gained 9 holes of the week on a Sunday to start your round. It's that kind of stuff that Scottie is able to do, that finish allowed him to do today.
Yeah, and I think like you could say, last night we were talking about could he shoot 71 and win, and I think we were like, it's going to be really hard for someone to beat him if he shoots 71.
Yeah,
I think you play this thing over and over again. If he shoots 71, he doesn't always win. I think Jon Rahm put together a valiant effort, chasing him down, eventually tying Scheffler when he was playing the 10th hole, where they were tied after Scheffler had bogeyed the 9th and he had birdied the 11th. Rahm, I think a lot of times these major championships come down to bounces. Scheffler got some really nice bounces over the weekend. The 2nd hole today, having like a clear lop wedge into the green after he hit maybe his worst drive of the week. And Rahm coming down the stretch when he needed him, the lip out on 13, that was a damn good putt.
It's great putt.
14, he obviously caught the side of a contour. He's 6 inches the other way. We might be talking about that being an iconic shot in championship golf history, right?
Yeah.
So I think, listen, Scottie, Rahm put together a valiant effort, made it not a snooze fest. The combination of Scottie getting out of the blocks very slowly today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot to be said, though, about Scottie, the way he righted himself when, you see so often when things go like that, it doesn't usually get better as the pressure ratchets up. The pressure ratchets up. He loses the lead. And then it's like he just like re-locked in and was back. He then hit essentially 5 perfect drives after that when he had been struggling with the driver. You 10, 11, 12, 14, and 15. Those were all right where he wanted them.
11, not a comfortable shot, he said. Not for anybody this week, but especially uncomfortable for him, he said. I think he had 7 straight shots that were SG plus, like significant after just a mess of the 9s, just relocked at 10. Obviously something going on. I loved his coach, Randy Smith, was like, look, this is what athletes do. Like, he's one of the great athletes. And, he analogized it to like a guy's 3-pointer is not falling at the start of the game. And like, how does he figure it out? What does he do? How do you adjust in the middle of the game? This is Randy Smith talking. We're not one of our cross sport comps.
What do you think was the shot that got him to the foul line?
That's a good question.
Got him to see one go through.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Might have been the putt on 10.
10, the roll, that was like a pretty pure roll, and he needed a birdie, and that could have been it. I would just say, a lot of times we, not a lot of times, and maybe not we specifically, there's this rap on him that he's incredibly mechanical, right? And needs it to be a certain kind of hit target, see target, hit target, get to this place, kind of golf. I'm just waiting for it. I think he is one of the great artists in the modern game right now. And I think being able to fix your swing mid-round. I thought his chip shot on 10 yesterday was one of the coolest shots of the week, and that not like that's all you want from a real artist. I mean, he's always been great around the green. Obviously his footwork and his swing is unorthodox. I think, and if you're playing in these conditions that all these guys talk about, Bryson, who, puts in various inputs and expects an output and hit all the great and exact shots yesterday.
You see the one putt on the front nine, maybe it was early. Like you're thinking Bryson might make him run, and he hit that 5-footer that he left like 2 feet short.
Stared up. We watched him at the Masters putting green with his yardstick and his all this stuff. And he's
I was
great.
thinking about it though. Sorry for this quick diversion here.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this because they said, I think it might have been IBF on the broadcast. It was like, he uses that yardstick to know how far to take it back.
Yep.
I mean, isn't that how everybody putts? They just don't put a yardstick down. You kind of feel out and you take the putter back as far as you think you should take it back.
Yeah. Yes, but he's got the iPad and the strain and all that. Like, there's a lot of different tricks he uses the most. He uses the most tools. So, if he's this pure mechanical guy, I just don't think he finishes the way he did yesterday when all these other guys were getting blown around. Rahm talking about the challenge, even today, of I don't know if I should hit my fade or try to hit a draw based on the way the wind was. It really getting in the nitty gritty on some of that, especially at 16. And I don't know, it's very oversimplifying to call Scottie just this mechanical robot. He's mechanical in result. Hit the fairway, hit the green, make the putt, make your 2-putt. Like, the result is mechanical. But I think how he gets there and how he's able to execute it is just, it's so oversimplifying and disrespectful to kind of call him this robot. And because a robot isn't able to feel the wind and play through it into firm greens like he did yesterday.
I think he's mechanical and robotic in his approach.
Sure.
But he is extremely artistic and creative with how he delivers the shots. If that, I know we live in a world with social media where, you can't have a nuanced perspective that way.
Sure.
I love, I love the simplicity of how he approaches the game. I loved his quote in his press conference talking about how his favorite thing to do in the world is practice. I mean, and then you think about the way he practices. It's so simple. It's grip and setup, and it's,
molded club, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It's the grip. Yeah.
It's like a molded club that used to swing in the back of the Caddyshack yard, when you're a kid growing up.
Yeah.
I think that, he's obsessed with the pursuit of perfection is another line that I think he said in that I was trying to jot it down while I watched my kid, but he that idea, and I think he knows he can't perfect it, but that's where also the frustration with mud balls comes. I think that's where some of the frustration with links golf comes, is he has a hard time when the outcome doesn't go the way he expects it to go because he feels like he delivered the perfect shot. And I think this guy is as good of an executor as there is. I think he's a great strategizer too. He understands where to leave the ball and how to play golf courses. This is a golf course he hadn't played a ton, and I don't think there's a ton to it necessarily. It's a very execution driven test, but he just went out there and just dismantled it comparatively to everybody else. He, on Saturday when he really made his big move, he hit 13 of 14 fairways. That's what the game was about this week. was being in position to control your golf ball into really firm greens, particularly on the weekend. Today, that round gave him a ton of wiggle room. Today, he spent all of his capital on the front nine, but then when it got back to like, I got to win this golf tournament, he just started hitting fairways again. And when the guy hits fairways, his iron play is so extraordinarily high. I was thinking about it. Is like Rahm knew he had to make scores on 14 and 15. He knew it. He knew it was over on 15 green.
Yeah.
And you could see like it all unraveled. But he knew he had to make scores because like I think Scottie makes these guys feel like they have to play absolutely perfect, even though he himself is not playing perfect. It's, over the course of 18 holes, he seemingly always hits a couple irons to like short range birdies. Like he's going to have a couple birdies just because his iron play is so great, but he misses irons. But then it's like, oh yeah, he's maybe has the best short game in the world. And it feels like at this point, when he gives up shots, it's often like it's just like he misses a shorty. Like he might miss a shorty here or there, like he missed on 17 a couple days ago. But he doesn't miss many of those anymore, and now he's like a top 25 putter in the world if you look at the strokes gained stats. And I just, I think it took him a little while to round back into 2024 form because of the injury. But here he is. He's ramped up again, and he's going. And I think it's not crazy to think like we could be seeing him going for the career Grand Slam at
this
Port
year.
Rush. Yeah.
Or Oakmont. Yeah. Maybe favors others. We thought it favored others maybe this week too. Slightly more, but it's not like it means Scottie's disfavored or at a disadvantage of any great kind. I would say the short game is where the artistry really comes in, as it does for most people. But that, like the shot on 10, I'll think about for a long time. That chip on 10 yesterday. The most shocking miss today was when he went way long at 9. Remember, he had to punch out, and then that's maybe not a normal range.
That was a tricky
distance.
pin too.
Yeah, and he just didn't stop it, and that's that's worse than for me than kind of fighting the left. So it's like, oh, whoa, he that was more shocking to see that from Scottie. You talked about the pressure he exerts on players, and we've discussed this now for a couple of years. He's got 18 wins worldwide since 2022. He's got the gold medal. He's obviously got 3 majors, multiple players. Kind of gave the world or gave the field a little bit of room to run at the start of this year with that injury. And I think we're just starting to see him. I don't want to put any sort of substandard results purely on injury, but clearly he started to play better since early April, end of March, after missing first few weeks. And so he just puts I think it was, 7 out of 7, 54 hole leads converted. I think every time he made a bogey or double.
His last eight 54-hole leads. And then all 3 majors he's won, he's had the 54-hole lead. Never not converted a 54-hole lead in a major.
So you're talking about that pressure that Rahm might feel. Like, it's not like, Alex Noren is winning, or I don't know, throw anybody out there. Harris English, Davis, it is Scottie. And Rahm knows that. And it's different. He converts his 54-hole leads. When he makes bogey this week, I think 7 times he made bogey or worse and made a birdie the next time. 8 times made bogey or worse. And
it was basically 50% of the time he made bogey. He had a bounce back birdie, I think.
He had a birdie the next hole. I know we saw that 9-10 today. You hear it in their quotes. Max Homa, when he hit his shot to a foot at 14, he's like, I wasn't hitting there. You're not intentionally doing that unless you're Scottie or something. Brian Harmon this morning on ESPN says it's like he has a time machine. I don't know how he gets the ball I don't know how he gets it to do what he do. Like he knows what it's going to do. It's like he has a time machine. He goes forward in time and knows exactly what the wind is doing and lands that ball just right. Talking about the finish last night.
I will say, of all the things, like when you talk about an artist, I think of all the things in golf the true mark of artistry is being able to judge wins. Like, because there's no caddy that can tell you. You have to innately know the shape, the flight, and the strike that you're going to hit it to have the distance control that he's had on the shots in the wind. Like where that's true artistry, because it is a complete feel shot. There is no app. There's no little plug-in. There's no self-proclaimed wind expert on Twitter that's going to tell you exactly how to hit the shot. Like, that is artistry, is when you have full command, like pure distance control when it's windy, and it's particularly crosswinds.
Yeah. And by the way, I'll just add like the artistry or another like stake in his corner is like he's pretty comfortable working it both ways, right? I mean, that's why he loves Sawgrass so much. Because he can hit. He likes to be able to have to, hit a shot this, right to left, and then you have to hit the approach the other way. He is pretty comfortable by modern standards.
I think he struggles hitting the hard draw, but that's just anti his shot shape. He can move it a little. I think what you could say about like the very best players in the game, and I know that the common belief is just to have one ball flight.
Yeah.
Xander, Rory, Scottie, maybe Rahm to a degree. He was reminding everybody that he drew some.
Did again today.
Those guys hit the ball both directions. I think Bryson can move it all directions when he needs to too. He likes to hit that slinging draw. But those, like the elite of the elite, the best of the best to win the hardest tournaments, it is a huge benefit when you can move the ball both directions.
Yep. So continue that mental load. You've got the Homa, Harmon, Bryson himself, maybe the main challenger. He goes, the Green Mile did it to me, and it did it to me again today. That's golf. I've got to be more precise and fix what I can fix to make myself more consistent and get up there. The likes of what Scottie is doing right now. A standard for others. Rahm, knowing he needs to hit it close. Siwoo Kim, I think in a walk and talk with Danny Rappaport, who played with them yesterday and looks like a broken man after watching Scottie finish the way he did. So, he played with them at CJ Cup. He said, I felt like rubbish, like I'm not on the PGA Tour, like it's God versus the very bottom. I mean, these are, obviously, it's a little bit of, I think, sarcasm and wit from Siwoo, but he's ascended to a place where even the very best for Bryson, for Jon Rahm, he is it's just a different kind of dynamic they're chasing in the present leaderboard and as a player throughout the year.
And you know what?
Pressure.
Everybody's chasing him in now.
What's that?
The FedEx Cup. Number one in the FedEx Cup.
Can we look into the points and how this? Rory's won the signature event, the Players, the Gold Standard, and the Masters. How?
I needed to get more points at Quail. Needed to go deep one of these days. Do a little backdoor action. Didn't do
Scottie's
it.
on CJ and PGA now. That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways,
what do you? I think one of Tiger's greatest. Obviously Tiger Scottie comparisons are all the rage.
Yes.
Yes. I think their consistency, like the what their game is built around, is just both of them. I think like what Scottie said, love practicing, and you see it with the consistency in their game, the machine like iron play. They both have been elite iron players. The great short games. Tiger at one point was a good driver of the golf ball. People forget about that. Then he became kind of a mediocre driver of the golf ball. Scottie's a great driver of the golf ball. I think like what those qualities do also is it makes you a seemingly insurmountable front runner.
Yeah.
because the people that you're going up against know just in general that you're better than them at basically every aspect of the game. It makes it almost like an impossible hurdle to overcome mentally. And you saw guys like nobody did anything. I mean, it's not that we didn't expect it. My biggest regret was giving Alex Noren the title of contender last night. I regretted it like almost immediately after the second shot of the day was struck when he hit it in the bunker. I was like, oh, should have done it. But like,
he's barely played this year.
I know, but I know. You know, like the only people that were going to be able to beat this guy were Bryson or Rahm. And I think that those qualities, like the similarities with Tiger, with the iron player short game, and for Scottie it's the driving, Tiger the putting. Those, it just makes it so hard to overcome. And you saw it, like the guys, like they had no chance. Like most guys on that leaderboard had no interest in getting in the fight today.
No. I admired Rahm. I don't know if he was firing that aggressively at 17, but you know, he's not playing for the points at that. He's playing for trophies.
He doesn't get any points.
All right, precisely. Literally,
you take the points away.
And so that's what Scott. You know, and Rahm's a guy who plays for trophies, and he understands he doesn't have, you know, Joe Schmo coming up behind him that could hit it in the water on 17 and 18. You know, it's Scottie freaking Scheffler. So I need to birdie in at best. And he had already kind of kicked it away with pars at 14 and 15, which you cannot do. It's just an all-time, affirmation of Scottie's. I don't know why we had sort of got, well, can he win outside the Masters? Can he win outside? You know, he's now won, you know, obviously as many times as his last 70 starts, 15, I think, is after going 0-4 in his first 70. Not that that's a bad clip either, but it's an incredible run. And he's obviously set a standard. And, you know, I thought an interesting quote at the end of last night was like, golf is not like sport. It's not like football or basketball where you can force things based on adrenaline or tackle people or push them out of the way. It's like letting the scores come to you, and you have to be a lot more patient than other ones, especially over a 72-hole tournament. Well, I would say like in other sport, that 5-hole stretch was like Curry getting hot for like 3 minutes in a third quarter, and that's the difference. Or, you know, a football game that you score at the end of the first half and score at the start and that's enough. That was it. Like that was those kind of adrenaline rushes, maybe not for him, but for the competition at whole. That was it.
I completely agree, because it was him playing at about the same level as, like, in this tournament, two other elite players, Rahm and Bryson.
Yeah. I
don't want to be dismissive to everybody else, but those were the only two guys that were going to win other than him.
Yep.
And it was a moment in time where his play just superseded to a whole different level for a short period of time.
Yeah. And that was enough. I'm not suggesting the other, 65 holes were immaterial, but that's the guts right there. And it was so much. I thought Rahm was like, you know, I'm one back. I'll probably be one back. He said that Saturday night. Boom. No, you got 5, and credit to him for evening it at some point. Any other legacy or larger scale talk you want to talk about Scottie? I don't.
Well, I wanted to put
good. It's very simple.
The 15 wins and 70 starts.
Yes.
Can we just take a moment? It's a 21% win rate.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yep.
Honestly, insane. Did
you see this? 15 wins since 2022, more than the Panthers. It's leading to internecine fighting in the tour. Stuart Moore, PGA Tour comms guy. Yeah, shouting at the old social media. I mean,
he's the head of the comms. I don't,
Well, it's not a smart tweet. They go there every year. The tour goes to Charlotte every year. You're bagging on the Panthers.
I bet Stu Moore loves PJ. He's a Champions Tour die in the wool media guy.
There are some incredible things going on at the Regions right now that I've been watching as you guys are just going, but we can get to that later. You need to give me 5 minutes at the end.
All right.
Okay.
Promise.
Okay. Right. We'll give you 5
right.
minutes. Look at it. You give him Champions Tour a minute, and next thing you know, he's asking for 5 minutes.
Give him an inch. He wants 5 minutes. The win rate, he's 22 majors. He's not a Tiger's win rate, but he's past his top 25 rate. He's similar as he's past his top 10 rate.
Something I was thinking about with the majors. The first major that he burst on the scene was the 2019 PGA at Harding Park.
Interesting.
That was like the first one where it was on the back nine, and there was a moment on the back nine on Sunday where like Scottie Scheffler might win this. He's going to win this, and he finished fourth there. So it's just kind of neat. That was like his first major that he contended in. And now he finally has a PGA, I think, given his talent and how, I mean, he needed to win another major other than the Masters, and now you're starting to look at Oakmont, and I think I think when Rory or Bryson is cooking, are they a better driver of the golf ball than Scottie? Yes. I think you could make the case round to round, Scottie's the most consistent, best driver of the golf ball in the game because of the combination of the accuracy and the above average distance.
Brandel was making that point tonight. I didn't listen. I just heard it in the background. It's I know Rory does more wow things, but I think Scottie's the best. Scottie, I don't know. He might have had data to back him up, but I did hear that as we were coming in. It's an interesting and quite honestly at Quail Hollow this week, it turned out on Sunday by the data. I know Data Golf had it. They had a little meter, straight, like bomber's paradise, pure bomb and gouge, disregard for all humanity. And the needle had moved to straight baller's paradise on Sunday. So you had to hit far straight good shots. And Quail Hollow, it might not have been, I had to think a lot about it, but it did require a little bit more than just lawn and inaccurate on by Sunday. And obviously that's just off the tee on approach. So anything else, you're thinking he might have the career slam by the end of the year?
I think he might be playing
playing for. Yeah.
I think that's not out of the. I mean, he's got to be the overwhelming favorite at Oakmont. That's that's a course. Yeah, distance is it's going to be a huge advantage, but that is not a bomber's paradise. It's another one that you have to be playing from the fairway.
Do you think he figures out how to play with some of these unpredictability elements that you're talking about, whether it's wind? It seems like he played pretty well at Troon last year.
This to me is the last big hurdle for him is the Open Championship. I think just in general, he needs. If I were advising Scottie Scheffler, I would say go out to, Scotland the week before the Genesis and just play golf. Just go out and play a bunch of golf, play a bunch of quirky golf courses, and learn to embrace the different style of golf there, the bounces that come with it, the, sometimes injustices that the game serves up more over there than it does here, where you seemingly can hit perfect shots. I mean, at the end of the day, the Open to me is the one where you're playing in those crosswinds where the best of the best ball strikers get so rewarded at the Open. It should be his happy hunting ground, the Open. Should be a tournament that he contends at for the rest of his life because of how good he hits the ball. He just has to get a little bit away from being chief of the fair police.
All right. Well, if you were advising him, that's what you tell him to do. Not that he needs a lot of advice these days, but
play the quirkiest things. You know what I would advise him and his family on?
What's that?
Sun protection.
That's where I was going. I would advise him on the best kind of sun protection, even if it's for little Bennett, because we know this stuff's like chemical free. Bennett. I was impressed with Bennett. Very chill kid. Very chill. Not squirmy, not shouting, not screaming. But they should go to oarsanalps.com. Use the promo code shotgun15. You get 15% off. I don't know if you'll need it at the Open. You might. You probably will at some point or another. But that could be. I saw it's been hot and sunny over there. They got the sun cream, as they call it.
Bennett doesn't have any hair yet.
Oh yeah.
You could just put that. You could use the stick right on it.
Yeah.
Just on the chrome dome.
We had a pool day here yesterday. The kids are all lined up. Boom, 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 boom. Go. It's a full summer of that. You go to oarsanalps.com. Shotgun 15. They got the hydrating antioxidant sunscreen spray named Men's Health Editor's Choice. How about that? Men's Health. I love that. Kids' health, women's health. We'll just throw it all in there. They got the face and scalp mist. That thing just clings to you. It's like one of these. It doesn't drip. You spray it, and it's just like you got a shield over you all of a sudden. It's not dripping down your face. It's incredible how it sticks to you. I don't know what they got in that. Matte sunscreen stick, SPF 50. 50 is a burly boy. That's a big number. The Clear Ghost stick, SPF 35. And the Everyday Anti-Aging Face Moisturizer. This is what we use when we're at tournaments. I know we use it at the Masters, the players. It's, it's sunscreen. But also the anti-aging.
It's also a moisturizer.
There you go.
Good.
Oh,
you get the double duty there. It's
3-in-1.
Yeah.
That's all through the bag. They got strokes gained, multiple approaches on that one. Go to
dude. You made a point. Oh, finish
oarsanalps.com/shotgun 15. Use that code. Hammer it. Stock up. Memorial Day weekend here in the States. Get your sunscreen. Shotgun 15 is the code. All right.
Can I follow up just a little bit?
The Open is going to be crazy this year. They've gone basically a month without any rain over there.
That's good. That's interesting to hear.
I think it's going to be so fiery. I got to say, I'm kind of happy the PGA is over just because we get to talk about Oakmont and Portrush now.
It's going to be pretty cool. All right. Let's do grades real quick.
Well,
you opened it up.
Do you want to talk about Rahm?
Sure. We can talk about Jon Rahm. An impressive round for him.
For
an impressive round for the burly boy from Spain.
Disrespectful.
Why is it disrespectful? I was looking for my
round for him. Like you weren't
expecting
Rahm. It.
Sorry, I was searching for my words. I'm searching for my notes here, and I just filling the air with the word and him. Impressive round for the big Spaniard. He gets to 9 under. He falls. You know what I have no sympathy for? It's the gamblers moaning about, oh, he was my top live bet, or he was my top live finisher, or I had him, top 5 to cash, or whatever it was. He just pisses it all away with double at the very end. It's in the water at 17-18, but tied for the lead. Really cool to hear him talk about, like, this is the most fun I've had on a golf course in a long time. I don't know if that speaks like amazingly to the current arrangement he has. But he had a good day, Jon Rahm, until 14 or 15. I thought he had good perspective on 14. I had hopes of an eagle putt, but going in that bunker, he's like, I bet he actually didn't think it was that bad a kick. Of course, thought it could have gone more straight, more, kick less left or less right. He's like, I think that's probably what his perspective was. I think it's probably going through the green, over the green, and that's a hard up and down. And he says, if on the green is A+, in that bunker was A, is what he said. And he just didn't hit the shot to get up and down for birdie. So he didn't seem that worked up about the kick. He did say, for a guy that can't hit draws, to hit a draw with a 5-wood that well in that moment, I did do it again. He said he thought the wind was just off the left, helping a little bit more than I thought. It carried extra 10 yards. And had it landed a little more short of the green, it would have kicked a little straighter. That was an interesting pin. Xander called it, I don't know what he called. I don't know if he didn't call it tricked up or anything, but he said that was going to be a subject of controversy. It's on the flattest part of the green, like precisely around the hole, very flat. But getting to it,
was very difficult. It felt like it ran really away if you were just a little long.
Yeah.
You know who didn't have any trouble with it though?
Who's that?
Scottie.
Scottie. Yeah. So he doesn't get up and down, doesn't make a birdie there. He is sloppy from behind the green at 15. Whereas Scottie just puts it to, a foot or two and makes his birdie. And that's kind of it. The Green Mile, you're not going to make up much ground. I
feel like there was a clock in his head. This is why it's hard to play against Scottie. He had to know, okay, I caught him. I'm at 9. He had to feel like he had to get to at least 11 through 15 to have a chance. And that's the tricky thing. So he hits the putt on 13 that almost goes down. I mean, that was a great putt. Maybe, it's just like if the hole was 1 inch further, it goes in for sure, And then he doesn't get it done there. And then you could see like the pressure on the next hole. He runs it by, maybe just like, it's not an easy shot, but he was not going to be content with just like laying it up there to 2 feet like Scottie did from the exact same position where he was trying to make a 3 there. I think he felt like he had to get to 11, And it felt like when they were both at 9, it was if anybody got to 12, it was over, and Scottie got to 12.
Yep. Just how close did it feel to being really special day? Because it was really close. God, it's been a while since I had that much fun on a golf course. 15 holes. Even the first 7 of the
18 top 10s on Live doesn't add up to that.
Even the first 7, I thought, the Legion 13's got a couple wins. That's fun. Even the first 7 of the day where I was swinging well and things weren't happening, I kept myself in and made the pars that I needed to play really good golf from the 8th to the 15th. I couldn't believe that. He parred his way to death out of the gate. Scottie's still playing, as bad as he's going to play probably in that spot. And I the way we framed it last night, it sort of was falling all together. And yeah, that's the mental load it is. It's not 11 holes. It's not 14. It's 15. Because it's all the way through at this point. And, you get a bad bounce or you miss a putt, you're going for, you have to get over aggressive. And it turns a probably close to guaranteed 4 into a 5, like at 15. That's sort of the mental pressure of having someone like Scheffler at the top. But probably bullish on Rahm going forward. Incredible to have him back in majors, competing again. It's not like he's been gone or off the map for a year. He was in it a little bit at Troon, but it was really fun to see him play.
The Olympics too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Any other Rahm thoughts?
I'm excited for him. I'm glad he's playing good golf. Because now you go into Oakmont, that another great fit. I mean, like, I think we're going to look at Oakmont. I think you're going to look at the 5 best players in the world, and they're probably going to win there. One of them is probably going to win there. I don't expect us to get like a surprise winner at Oakmont after the run we've been on. And then Portrush, and that's another place that, he's got a great chance at.
Yeah.
So what would you give, obviously, Scottie A+? I mean, he won with like not his best stuff. Won by 5, arguably.
Yeah. A+. You can't. You give him A+ based on the finish on Saturday alone. I think you just do it. He knew the test. He knew the field. He knew who he had to beat, and he went and just did it. You know what I mean? Like, we thought about at the start of the week. Why overcomplicate this? It's kind of a setup for him, and what you think might happen. Well, you talked about this. It's how often does that, right? Like Bryson, thick boy, this off the tee, strokes gained first. Even when he kind of didn't play very well with irons and sloppy around the green and putting, didn't play well in the wind, still kind of in contention. And so, yeah, it's an A+ for Scottie Scheffler.
What do you give Jon Rahm?
Like a B+. Is that harsh?
I think it's. I would give it. I was going to give him an A.
Yeah.
I think listen, you get the ball in your hand late, chance to win, and people might be frustrated with the way he finished because of their they're gambling, but you know what? Like, he breathed life into a Sunday at a major that seemed like it wasn't going to have any life, and it's nice. Honestly, like, I was thinking this on Saturday. God, it's nice to watch him play consequential golf again. It's fun to see him happy. Happy boy.
The perspective was wild. Because, I think it's the first time I've been in a position to win a major and haven't done it. I've been in a real position to close and haven't done it. Only time I've took a lead in a major on Sunday, I've been able to close it. He quoted Charles Barkley. He likes to remind basketball players, we play golf like that. I play basketball for a living. I play golf for a living. It's incredible. Am I embarrassed a little bit by how I finished it? Yeah, but I need to get over it and get over myself. It's not the end of the world. It's not like I'm a doctor or first responder. Well, Don Rea may disagree, because you are a member of the PGA of America.
That's right.
And so that does make you a first responder.
Is he, though? Because he's not a PGA Tour member.
Oh, that's a good question. Now you're getting into the semantics of it.
That's my personal opinion on it. There is no personal opinion. I'm the president of the PGA of America.
I'm not a doctor or first responder. Where they have a bad day, truly bad things. I'll get over. I'll move on, and I'm going to give it another go in the U.S. Open. So yeah, very happy. I'll go whatever. B+, A-. Great to see him back in it. Hitting draws. He likes to remind us. How about Bryson? Should we get to the thick boy? You want to give him a grade for the week?
I'll give him a B+.
Okay.
I mean, big Wikipedia second place finish. They're going to remember that 10 years from now. They're going to be talking about, he could have won Quail Hollow. Even though, was there a moment where you're like, yeah, he's going to win this?
No.
Maybe Saturday a little bit.
Oh, maybe Saturday. Maybe. Yeah, when he walks up 15 in the lead.
Yeah.
And he's doing the pump up the crowd thing. I'm like, all right, well, he's going to be there like a Pinehurst or yeah.
Definitely didn't think he was winning today the way he played.
I like a B. Is that harsh?
I think a B+. Okay. I'm not giving anybody that finished second.
Lower than a B+.
I think so. They're too hard. It's, to finish second, like, here's the thing. We talked about the way he closed, the way Scottie closed. Now, if Scottie doesn't close like that on Saturday, if he just, maybe he gets arrested again and he's not around. If the chief isn't around, who wins this golf tournament? I probably think that Jon Rahm wins.
Yeah.
But Bryson DeChambeau would have been there.
He drove it, he said, as well as he could. I wouldn't disagree with that. But we're kind of on a trend where he's just, there's a lot of talk about his equipment, his ball. Are the irons like really, we talked about a lot on Saturday. He's not come through. He's an incredible player, and I think he will win a lot, but he's been pretty scruffy in a lot of these weekends, whether it's Live, whether it's, the Masters 24, Masters 25, Pinehurst 24. Today, I mean, we're talking about like, I'm talking relatively to Bryson standards. I'm not suggesting compared to whoever. But I don't think it's nerves or what, but he's even Pinehurst. He's not necessarily hit it exceptionally well. He's really ripped it, and his irons were his approach game was poor again today, and the putts equally were not great.
I'm just such a believer in you just got to get into the
give yourself chances.
Totally. That's the recipe for winning a lot of majors is being there a lot. And I think Scottie has been there almost every major and he only has 3.
True. Rory just went 10 years.
We aren't saying because Scottie didn't close out LACC and he didn't even really ever put up a chance Scottie can't get it done. Yeah. I think the name of the game, name of the game's getting it into the mix. And I think, he like Rahm and Scottie, Oakmont gonna be a great fit for him.
Yeah.
I think what disappoints me about Bryson is the conversation goes to his equipment. It's and this is the world that he's made himself by talking about his equipment so much. I mean, he basically said his equipment won him the U.S. Open last year at Pinehurst. And it's dude, you've been a great winner your entire career, no matter what equipment you've used. And now the discourse is all these people talking about your equipment because you finished second. And it's you know what? And I think Bryson, to his credit, just said I got to be better in these situations. I didn't hit the shots I needed to hit.
Got to be like Scottie, almost is what he said. I'm not trying to pop him.
That might be the good slogan. Be like Mike, be like Scottie. Rory said that at the beginning of the year, won a major.
Yeah. I'm just surprised at how scratchy it looks the last.
I don't think he's a pretty golfer though. I don't think that's everybody. I just don't think he's his game is not pretty. It is brawny, but it's also scrappy. He gets it done by
true.
It is not an aesthetically pleasing way to watch golf. It's not Adam Scott out there where there's just it is. He wins with brute force and scrappiness around the greens and making putts when he needs to make putts.
Let's get to the equipment. We talked about his quotes. I did a reading of his quote on Saturday where he just said, I hit a great shot here. I hit a great shot here. I hit a great shot. It was too far left, too far right. The wind took it. I've made a dumb double, but I played that hole perfectly. Here's his quote Sunday night. What I really think needs to happen, being pretty transparent here, is just to get a golf ball that flies a little straighter. All right. Well, yeah, of course. Could we all just want a golf ball that flies a little straighter? What I really think needs to happen here, being pretty transparent, is just to get a golf ball that flies a little straighter. Okay. And I want to be, I want to win the lottery. So everybody talks about how straight the golf ball flies. Well, upwards of 190, like Rory and myself, it's actually quite difficult to control the golf ball. Yeah, that's the point. If you can fly it, you can swing 190, 200 ball speed, and straight as an arrow. There has to be increased or marginally increased risk that comes with that speed. You know what? The accident that I get in, if my car is traveling at 75 or 95 on the highway, is probably going to be more violent than if I'm going 15 in the parking lot. That's what probably. You can't just say what needs to happen. Being transparent here is I've got to get a golf ball that flies straighter. The ball side spins quite a bit and it gets hit by the wind quite a bit because our golf balls are just longer in the air. Yeah, I mean, there's a benefit and there comes some increased risk with the benefit of being longer and longer in the air. So I'm looking at ways of how to rectify that so that my wedges can be even tighter so it can fly straighter. I feel like there are times where I hit wedges and it just over curves. This is something a little different, depending on how high and how much time it is in the air and how much spin is on the ball. So what I really think I'm going to be looking at now, along with some equipment stuff, is just to make myself a little more precise the next time so we don't have what happened this week happen again. It says, are you going to make those changes between now and the U.S. Open? This was after he talked to Amanda and said he's got some tricks up his sleeve that he's going to be bringing to go work on. So he did that in the sit down with CBS, tricks up my sleeve. I thought that was great. So he says, are you going to work on these between now and the U.S. Open? Says, I don't know. I'm going to work my butt off to have to make that happen. But again, here he is. Incredible talent, incredible skill. His whole life as a U.S. amateur, he's just de-agencying, like taking the agency out of himself. He says, quote, it's all up to manufacturing. What does that mean, dude?
Well, maybe he's got designs in and he's just waiting. Maybe he's wondering what to do because the ball's coming over from China and he doesn't know whether he should pay the tariff tax or let it sit here. Let it sit at the docks. Do you pay the tariff? It comes down to the manufacturing.
It's all up to manufacturing. That's not fair to your own skill and talent.
That's the thing that's so frustrating. Just stop talking about the equipment and just play with it and be like, yeah. There's a lot of equipment talk. What do you think about Xander and Scottie advocating for testing every week? What a win. What a march from 2019 when Xander got popped in the Open to here.
Grade for the CT machine, A+.
A+.
Had a great week. Popped the top two players in the world, apparently, with non-conforming drivers. Scottie comes out in an interview with, or Xander in an interview with Adam Schupak, said, I'm pretty sure Scott, didn't call him Scottie, is playing with a new driver, a backup driver. And then Scottie's asked about it after. He said, we need more robust testing. We need it every round or every tournament and every player. It is goofy that they only do random third of the field. It's so stupid.
This is the week I feel like people started to realize what was going on, and people would be like, wait, so what about the other guys? And it's like, yeah, probably there's probably 24 guys that played in this tournament with illegal drivers.
And, this isn't like, it's not like steroids. One guy, he's hitting 50 homers in a season if he doesn't have the roids. It's not Brady
like Anderson.
And it's like 14 if he doesn't.
Do we have any more submissions for the steroids?
Brett Boone got a good one. Brett Boone was named as an all-time roids guy. What a dumb lunch with the boys. That was a great segment, PJ. So, CT machine. Anyways, it makes sense. Do it more often. We're talking about half a yard. That was my point. We're talking about a yard, a half a yard when it gets hot. And Scott is like, I'm pretty sure we were pretty sure because I've had it over a year or about a year. We thought we were probably going to be pretty close getting there, and the face had gotten hot, and he had to use a backup, and Rory had to use a backup, and now it seems like the players have come around on let's test. My question to you is, what happens when they fail? Like,
you go to your locker, and you get the backup driver.
I just want to be Xander's like you play, you just play. Everybody plays. It's not like you're disqualified of some sort, right? I mean,
the equipment manufacturers are there every single week. Like, part of their whole prep should be like, here's your backup driver. Maybe guys maybe should hit tee shots on the golf course with their backup driver more often than bring two drivers out in the practice round. My point, why the players should want this is because it protects them. And what's crazy to me is people are like, oh, Rory's Masters should be questioned because his driver failed this week. And he might have been using a non-conforming driver, but the way the system's set up is it's not on the players to know if their driver's conforming. Scottie Scheffler just said, I thought it might not be conforming because we've had it for a year, but it's not. The system is not. So people are like, oh, Rory. Well, there's probably 25 players in the field at the Masters that use a non-conforming driver. That's basically what the numbers bear out from the one time we got numbers, which was the 2019 Open. I think it was 12 of 30 players failed. But if you test every single week, you protect the players. because then nobody's playing a hot driver without knowing it.
And we're not talking about some like great crime here. I think there's intent with taking steroids. Like there's intent. I think maybe some guys
don't you talk about a crime.
Maybe some guys want to use like our intent on like finding the hottest possible stuff and just are knowingly doing all that. But a lot of these, like, they know they're probably getting the line. The deterrent is it's taken, and then you keep going. And so this isn't it's not going to be a deterrent. It's just going to be a sort of integrity of competition thing. We test, you get over the line, you're gone, you take it out of play, and you keep going. It's not like you need to be suspended 50 games. It's let's just keep that instant tournament on as level footing as possible. And no one needs to be tarred and feathered here. So yeah, it seems like they're coming around.
And people should know when it happened.
Right. It's not a personal privacy health matter. It's the stigma around it, I think, is sort of gone, is sort of waning. There's nothing nefarious here. Quail Hollow. What would you give the grade for Quail Hollow?
I mean, like a B-.
Okay. I thought it had a pretty good week. I think its biggest problem is we see it every year for a rather PGA Tour event that's just between the Masters and another major.
I talked about this a little last night, and I think that what we want out of these majors is we want to feel like we're getting something special. And I think that's like why there's some pushback to the like the US Open rota courses. How often we're seeing Pinehurst, how often we're seeing Pebble. You could say that like one of the big crises in major championship golf right now is the R&A only has like 5 sites. Like when there's scarcity, you feel like you're getting something. Like this year with Oakmont, it's like, oh, we haven't seen Oakmont in 10 years. This is exciting, you know?
Yeah.
I think if you want your golf course to be a major championship host, the worst thing you can do for the brand of your golf course is host a PGA Tour event.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing it with Pebble. Like, I'm not really excited to go to see Pebble host another major for a lot of reasons, but like one of them is I see it every year. And it plays completely different in June. And I think like Quail Hollow played a lot different this week than at a PGA Tour event. And I think that was a really nice job by the PGA to do it. But at the end of the day, there's something about Quail that just like, there's no soul to me.
Hunter Mahan. Yeah, I as a championship test, I thought it was, as we said at the start, orders of magnitude. This isn't Valhalla. It's not Bellerive. It was like you had to ball out. You had to play well. And if you didn't play well, you were punished. And that's good. I enjoyed that the greens were firm. I enjoyed that there was a wind element on the weekend. I enjoyed that it dried out. Mud balls were amusing. I'm not saying that's a venue thing. Mud ball.
That's PJ.
It became a real test there on the weekend. And you know, is it the most thoughtful strategizing test? No, but it was a proper one where if the best player, the best executor could be rewarded. And the difference between, you know, a great shot and an average shot could be divined, could be separated.
All right. Last 10 PGA hosts, where would you rank it? I did this pre-week.
Yeah.
Pre-week.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Kiowa Island, is that above it?
Yes.
Southern Hills.
Yes.
Whistling Straits.
Similar, I would say. Peak Dive, sure. They're similar.
I think the thing that Whistling has is like it has the water. It's nice on TV.
Well, yeah.
Like they could do a panoramic zoom. I think it's just like a nice TV product from that standpoint.
Yep,
Bethpage.
totally.
Where would you put Bethpage compared to it?
These are like, honestly, I don't mean to punt. These are like all kind of right there.
This is kind of the bucket I had it in too when I did this.
Yeah.
Oak Hill.
I'd maybe put Oak Hill a little bit above it because of like the scarcity aspect and this championship pedigree or history.
Would you put Oak Hill ahead of Whistling Straits?
I think so.
Okay, so you'd have it up with like Kiowa and Southern Hills.
Maybe just behind those two, and then slightly ahead of this bucket of Bethpage, Whistling Straits, and Quail.
Baltusrol. I've had this pre-renovation because I'm excited. I'm actually excited about going back after renovation.
Okay, pre-renovation. I mean, we're all scarred by the whole 16, like as content, praying to the content gods. It's probably it's behind Quail.
Harding Park.
Pre-reno. God, this is harder than I thought. They're all kind of like, just throw them all together outside of like Kiowa and Southern Hills. Seriously.
Yeah. Valhalla? Is it better than Valhalla?
Yes. We know the top two, we know the bottom two, and after that, it's kind of all there.
So this was my point about it. It's like middle of the road for the PGA. Honestly, I think it would bump up if the PGA said, "Hey, we'll give you one of these like every 6 or 7 years if you stop hosting the PGA Tour."
Yeah. Charlotte, I mean, it's a big American city. Seems like a good idea to go there. I thought the fans weren't as didn't seem like it was as packed as we were told.
There was nobody following the final group yesterday.
Well, yeah, that was because, Scottie and all the action was going down ahead, and the final group was Johnny Vegas, and
We're doing these grades. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So we got at the T2, we've got Harris English and Davis Riley. Do they just get A's?
Yes.
Because they got T2. I did find
I'll give a B. I'll give those guys A.
Amusing that Davis Riley, he hooped it and he got within 3, and it was like,
that's nice.
And then it was disaster for a couple holes after that. Pendy Vegas posting all A's.
Sure, give it to him. Yes,
Gerard.
That's the truest coming out.
Gerard, McCarthy, Highsmith, and
A's boys.
Siwoo, all A's.
Siwoo. I thought he would do better.
Does Neiman get an A for his first top 10?
Yeah, Neiman gets an A he gets his first, sticker at school. You've completed the test.
What's Fitzy get for his weekend?
What's who? Fitzy? I mean, quite honestly, I'll give Fitzy an A. We have not seen him at all. Just not a player. He got rid of Billy Foster, and his weekend was a mess a little bit, right? He's just, I don't know, go 72. But yeah, having a top 10, I'll give him an A.
I talked to someone that said that the Billy Foster dismissal was well warranted.
Didn't Foster have some sort of quote or
said something about not being appreciated?
Yeah. He had some sort of post or shade to him. Neiman A for sure. Impressive. Happy
Keegan,
with Neiman.
Captain Keegan, T8.
I mean, this is insane. He's playing some of the best golf of his life. Probably an A. But this is exactly the kind of course where he would do well. It's Keegan paradise, right? I mean, he's like Diet Scottie.
He's gonna play well at Oakmont.
Yeah.
He's gonna play on the Ryder Cup team.
Johnny Vegas.
Vegas is an A+.
They're selling rakes. They're selling rakes with Johnny Vegas's. They're auctioning off rakes.
What do you give a Rory?
Okay. Like an F?
He made the cut.
Yeah, that's true.
Get him into passing.
Sure, D. Yeah. I once put about the minimal amount of effort into it. I should have gotten an F into a college course. They gave me a D-. It was those charity, so you got some credit for it, or a D or something like that. And maybe that's what I'll do for this one. It was such a weird week. I don't get it. Set aside off the court, on the course, he shot whatever he shot over par. I never really was in it. Had the driver, had to deal with that. had that pulled. It just felt like he was playing with it, unburdened, playing everything's gravy. And he didn't seem happy. Didn't talk to the press, which whatever. I don't care if he skips that once or twice. He skipped it all 4 days. It's just kind of weird. It felt like everything should be a celebration the rest of the year. And he's going to a place, obviously he's played well, and maybe he's mad he's not playing well at a place where he's done so well before. But it was just like a just strange week that I didn't expect. Like, you should just be enjoying the hell out of everything. And he talks to the press a lot and has given more to the press than anybody. But it just was strange. I didn't expect him to be. I figured he would just be celebrating, quite honestly, and it didn't feel like he was as happy. Or I don't know. It was just strange, a little off. I don't know.
Very odd week. Imagine how much money you would have made if you had been able to place a bet that Rory would only shoot 1 round in the 60s at Quail this week.
Right. Yeah. So I does it make me concerned about anything? Not really.
I think, yeah, it seemed like the golf swing was a little out of sorts.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
he said it in the lead up. He hadn't put as much time into it between.
Yeah, well, that would make sense, and quite honestly, be fully expected and justified, and absolved. Anyways,
yeah, that's what I don't get is like just stop by, appease somebody for 2 minutes, don't say anything really, and just show up once, so it's not I skip media all 4 days.
It is interesting. Like, the media, God, they love Rory. It's kind of nuts how much like that matters. Like, if Bryson did it, it would be a thing. If Xander or Scottie did it, it would be a thing. Obviously, Scottie won. But the media just like has a fast fixation on Rory, and I just, after the Masters, I thought it was strange. Like, I thought the week would be a celebration whether he played well or not. What about the PGA of America? What kind of grade you give them? You got Big Don out front.
That's my personal opinion on it. There is no personal opinion. I'm the president of the PGA of America.
I don't know if I can give my personal opinion on this. What's my personal opinion?
Look at him. Just shining there on the 18th green. The over-under, we set at 30-second speech. Someone set the timer. I can't verify the results. These are unverified results from a follower. So it is 101.80.
I started
over a minute.
It happened too quick for me. I didn't have the timer ready. I started it probably 8 to 10 seconds in, and I had 57. So it was well over a minute.
He talked about how he's going to tear up giving the trophy to Scottie. Called Charlotte the greatest fans in the world.
He played to the fans. You know what? I thought this was the last we were going to see of Don Rhea. And I was astutely reminded we got the Ryder Cup.
Oh, he's going to be in a American flag costume or something. Yeah, he'll be all playing to the crowd there. PGA probably didn't have a good week. I would say, in my opinion, they go up and down. They're the most. Oh, you know what? This is a great championship test 1 week. Or they got their shit together. They less controversy. I thought they just kind of came off Mickey Mouse this week with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, like a D, just because of that press conference.
That the timing yesterday with we're sending them to the first tee. Wait, no, we're not for 3 hours. The way I don't know. They're insane about some of the media stuff, which is whatever. Very inside baseball.
Yeah, you know who's been running their DMCAs this week?
Who?
The tour. I got this as a little inside. It got passed over from inside the moat.
That would make sense.
Yeah, just a little bit.
PGA of America, just like I did get a lot. I want to be fair, equal time. Did get multiple testimonies from people who know Mr. Rhea, who said he's a good guy, who've worked with them in the PGA. I'd say he loves his people. He's an advocate for them. And is a nice guy. He's just very passionate. I would say, in that press conference where he was put issues of substance and not just, being passionate, he sounded like a bozo, as I said. But
Got the bozo back out. Bopping the bozo.
It was incredible. We also got a lot of testimony that maybe was supportive of that preview segment on this.
The best thing that come out of it, we got 2 great additions to the soundboard.
Yeah, we did. Any shift in Ryder Cup thoughts for you? Sergio said if they asked me, I wouldn't accept it. I'm playing so poorly.
I don't think he's going to be asked.
Okay.
If I had to guess, I think they're pretty happy not having him on this team. If I had to guess,
is the PGA like America's major? The U.S. players major?
Oh, yeah.
Not like the U.S. the country. It's kind of incredible when you look at it. Pretty much since 2011, Rory and Jason Day, who I would say quote unquote have at the time had like American games in 12, 14, and 15. It's all U.S. players. You're kind of your brawny U.S. player. Phil would be an outlier, but that's it. It's been Americans who've won it since 2011, besides Day and Rory. Kind of interesting. That's a venue issue. That's a venue thing. It's a field composition thing, but it's on a run of pretty sort of I don't know if predictable is the word, but it delivers like consistently probably what they want. Does that make sense?
Is that a good thing?
No, I wasn't suggesting it's
like
a positive.
Is it like, I feel like sports, you want stuff to happen. You want to set something up so crazy stuff can happen. It feels like they have just gone with the most mundane theory of putting on a tournament, but that's because they're professionals.
I mean, Scottie, Xander, Brooks, JT, Phil, Morikawa, multiple Brookses.
I would say the Phil win was out of the ordinary,
total outlier.
But that's the one golf course that's got kind of like can have some crazy shit because of the wind,
Yeah.
I want to reserve PJ's 5 minutes here. I was going to ask a question about Scottie. I've got a hard stop. I got to.
What's your grade for Wyndham Clark throwing a club?
10 out of 10. Perfect. Fantastic. Incredible.
I was going to ask my one parting Scottie thought. I think one of the things you should do that is like really hard to do, that not a lot of guys do, that I'd love to see Scottie do and think he probably might do it, is multiple majors in a year. I'd like to see Rory do it, or Scottie. I think, Xander doing it on his first 2, pretty impressive.
Yep.
But like there are not a lot of guys that have won 2 majors in a year. And that is, I think, like kind of the emphatic, like an exclamation mark on. It's just another thing. Yep.
We are on a run right now that's incredible, but we're blessed to talk about this stuff. I'll remember the Scottie Saturday night thing for a long time, and the winners we keep getting are amazing. I think that was sort of the recoil on Thursday with what we had. Some of the recoil. I don't think we were necessarily hitting the panic button, but this was a good major championship. And it's not just results based. It was like watching it was enjoyable. I think the PGA probably is results based. They look at their winners and like, oh, well, it's a good golf course. It's a good championship. We got Scottie. We got, Xander. That's probably.
You think they go back to Quail?
It seems like, yeah, probably. Yes.
I feel like they kind of almost have to.
Johnny Harris, I think, wields a good bit of influence. It seems like they've got the market, the date right now that it's a May date. They're looking at Southeast more often.
It's a good time. Yeah,
I think probably do.
Hey, you know what?
You gotta go.
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to Champions Tour 5 minutes tomorrow morning on the pod.
Okay,
I'm gonna head out. Great championship, PJ. I'm sorry that I'm not going to be here for your segment.
Well, you could be up at 6 a.m. your time to watch the finish of the regions.
Oh no, they didn't get it in.
They didn't get it in.
Oh,
even better.
There's some follow up. All right, goodbye, Andy. Have a nice evening.
Great week.
Yeah.
Great week.
Again?
Yeah.
Good
Thank you to everybody for listening. It's always fun doing these majors. Thanks to everybody that popped in the live shows. We'll be back doing lives in
US
Pittsburgh.
Open.
We're gonna have live audiences, even though this
cool spot. PJ's having a panic attack.
Yeah,
already about
PJ's
this.
not happy about this.
Not happy.
I really wish you didn't say that, but here we go.
Yeah, we'll be at Local Remedy.
Awesome little brewery.
Right near. It's in Oakmont proper.
I think so.
It is.
On
You know,
the golf course.
Doesn't get enough pub. Everybody talks Oakmont Bakery. I'm more of a mechanic coffee guy and a Local Remedy guy.
Yeah, I heard some pushback from the locals about Oakmont Bakery. Might be kind
mechanic coffee. Good. Really good. Cool spot. If you want to beat the crowds and get a better cup of coffee, go to Mechanic Coffee.
All right, we're going to be there. So thank you for another great major, Andy.
And
All
Local Remedy for a good beer.
We're going to be there. Friday team will be there for a lot of the week.
PJ, if you have problems with the live stream, it's all PJ's fault, you know?
Thanks for that.
That's great.
Appreciate it.
He's not in a good mental place about what we might have coming at the Oakmont.
He's warned against it, so naturally we are driving into it.
We're putting it on display. See you, Andy. All right. What is happening, champion? I cannot say I've watched a minute of Regions. They didn't get done because of what? Extra holes or because of slow play?
So started huge rainstorm this morning. Didn't start until 1:00 Eastern today.
Okay.
Rainstorm mid-round didn't resume until like 4:30, 5:00 Eastern. So we have, I believe, five guys still out there.
Oh no.
Who the 5 guys that have a chance to win this tournament? Angel Cabrera, Jerry Kelly, Y.E. Yang, Stephen Alker, Charlie Wee did not finish. Jerry Kelly put his foot down, said we're not doing it. This was at 8:40-ish, 8:45, somewhere in there. It was dark.
Okay.
Papa is like totally in pure. It is darker than our cameras make it appear. We're on CNBC, by the way, because Live From preempted the regions. So they moved the regions to CNBC. Just wanted to say Major Championship Golf making it to CNBC.
Yep.
Everybody else.
Probably better if I'm being honest.
Honestly.
It might be. I don't know cable that well, but go ahead.
Everybody else, there are still 4 groups on the 18th hole when they blow the horn. 4 groups of guys that do not have a chance to win. And they say, we're finishing.
No.
So almost an hour, 50 minutes between when they blew the horn to when everybody else finished. The Dick Green, Stu Cink group legitimately played the 18th hole. Like, if the cameras were making it lighter than it actually was, you couldn't see anything on TV.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
God.
Like, the guys on the green were waving everybody from the fairway up. Stu Cink hit, and it's a par 5. So you're hitting lumber.
Yeah.
Stu Cink
we got the backboard, though.
Hit a 3-wood and had no idea where it went. Almost like hit somebody on the green because nobody could see where the ball was. The groups that are coming back tomorrow.
You watched this much of this tournament, PJ.
I watched it for the first probably 20 minutes of this show.
Okay.
The groups that were, because it was unbelievable. I couldn't turn it off. I had to.
Yeah.
The groups that are coming off to go back tomorrow are driving their carts to the clubhouse to go like sure everything up. Somebody drives over Alex Jacobs' ball. So it becomes embedded. So we need to get a ruling in the pitch blackness. Dick Green almost decapitates Boo Weekley, who's driving his cart to the right side of.
There's too many carts. There's too many carts.
There's carts. There's fans. There's volunteers.
Chaos.
It is dark out. Somebody. Hold on. Let me look up who it was again.
You got notes. You got notes.
Yeah, I do. I do have notes. Paul Stankowski hits his 3-wood in the dark over. Hits it off of the backboard, bounces off the backboard into the water, to the left of the 18th green. So now he's got to drop after
a line of
backboarding.
entry and all this. Yeah.
It is pitch black. Papa is on the broadcast being like, these are valuable Schwab Cup points for all of these guys that they just don't care. They just want to go home.
It's a schmockery at this point. Yeah.
Zinger is just like hysterically laughing. He's getting texts from his wife being like,
he's got to be like a pig in shit, Zinger. He's got to be.
He's lapping it up. So we have El Pato and Jerry Kelly tied for the lead right now. They're coming back tomorrow morning, but I cannot reiterate the extra hour of this television tonight was like something I will never erase from my mind. It was unbelievable.
We've got some good one-liners about, is this the first time two prisoners won a major on the same day?
A lot of people like that.
Between Scottie being in jail and Opato being in jail for much more valid reasons, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say. Someone sent a zinger line at us, and I'm not sure I can find it. Something about a hungry bulldog. Did you see that one?
I did. Hold on. I
got it. I just heard Paul Azinger say, this is Eric Barzetsky, say the putt was, quote, putt would scare a hungry bulldog off a meat truck ugly. What? Scare a hungry bulldog off a meat truck ugly.
And I believe, most importantly, we were on site this week. Maybe for the majors, we're bringing him back out on the road. Zinger he was talking about how he had breakfast with a couple guys on Saturday morning. He was fired up. Zinger was in great spirits, honestly.
So we got Monday morning El Pato versus
Jerry Kelly. Wai Yang is in the mix.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Eastern.
How many holes?
They are on hitting approaches on 15, the last group.
Okay. I love the scene of like Paul's getting embedded because they're run over.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable. The rules official was like, what's the problem here? And he's like digging, he's like Patrick Reed, like digging his hand into the ground and he can't get the ball out. And Zinger's like, I think there's a tire track next to that. It looks like somebody ran it over. And Papa's like, oh my God, that is what happened because nobody can see anything. It was incredible.
Hey, what'd you think? Are you betting on the Johnny Vegas rake?
Well, I have some
questions. Can we do that?
Yeah. I have some questions about the authenticity of all of this. Actually.
You missed this. This might have been a social media bit. So the rake that Johnny Vegas hit on 17 on Friday.
Allegedly.
They've got some, the PGA, this is a very PGA move, has some third-party vendor they brought in called The Realist Company that is like a memorabilia dealer. And it's not clear to me where the proceeds are going. I don't know that it's going to the 31,000 that Don Rea represents, but it's this authentication memorabilia company, and they're trying to hawk Johnny Vegas's rake, the bunker rake he hit and it was $300. They have it on display.
They had it on display. That was the best part. Hold on. I'll pull it up for YouTube right now.
Eagle-eyed listener sent this to me this morning. He said, look, they have this giant display of a rake on some sort of concessions hospitality tent near wherever, I presume, 17. The bid was $300. They authenticated it. It's now up to $420.
Jesus.
They said that they said this is truest authentication. So somebody saw Johnny Vegas interact with the rake on site. This is the actual rake. Like what we saw this interaction. This is just Mickey Mouse shit from the PGA. Who's buying a rake, bunker rake for $400 some for any amount of money?
Well, so, any amount of money. It would have been at least good if he won.
Well, that's the thing.
It would have been like a piece of history had he won. Now it is completely irrelevant.
You hang it in your office and you're like, what's that? It's the rake from the guy who hit it to finish to make a par on 17 on Friday that eventually finished 5th at a random PGA. He made a par. It wasn't like it hit off the rake and went in. Hit off the rake. He missed the putt. He finished 5th. It was the second round. What? It's an inconsequential item.
It is. This is and I'm a big, like, we've been over this. I'm a big memorabilia person. This is a step too far. This is, I would like the used tournament water from 17 at Sawgrass is like much more real than this. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. But if they're going to sell it for $420, then so be it. However, can we even confirm if that is the Rake?
You did some investigative reporting, much like Andy calling the Augusta Ranch driving range and finding out they're hitting off mats and Callaway practice balls. Mr. Rhea says, they're hitting the same balls they want to use in elite Division I players. What did you find about the Realist auction house?
So I saw a video last night. Didn't think anything of it. Scrolling TikTok at like 3 a.m. Saw a video of Eric Cole getting the flag from his hole-in-one on Thursday. First career hole-in-one on the PGA Tour. I was like, oh, that's great. Look at that. You send the link to this Realist auction. I go to scout out the Johnny Vegas, and then I see, oh, what else do we have? They have Eric Cole's flag from number 4 on Thursday that they posted a video on Instagram and TikTok, not on Twitter, where I've done my investigative reporting. So maybe that was maybe they're thinking ahead, trying to potentially, absolve themselves of any controversy. But I'm eagle-eyed. I'm on all social media platforms. They said that it was the first authenticated piece of memorabilia in PGA Championship history, and that they gifted to Eric Cole. Meanwhile, the flag on their website is also the first authenticated piece of memorabilia in PGA history, but is being sold on their website. I watched Eric Cole thank them for the gift and walk away with the flag in his hand. Are there 2 of these? Is Eric Cole selling the flag? What's going on here?
I mean, it seems like you've uncovered something. There can't be 2 flags. Eric Cole walks off into the sunset with the flag.
Why would Eric Cole
it's up for auction?
Like what? Why would you do that? It was an incredible moment in your career.
This is just Mickey Mouse shit. You got a bunker rake on display at your major championship. It's just I don't understand. It's just like PGA. I don't think I don't mind the PGA, but they didn't cover themselves in glory this week. Do you have any other thoughts on the PGA? What were your thoughts? What grade would you give Max Homa, PJ? Didn't play well yesterday. I think I'd give him a B+. I
was going to say, I think he's got to be at least a B for just getting in the conversation. I mean, honestly, he played well at the Masters, and he played well for a little bit here. Like you could throw out a trending there if you wanted to.
What would you give Cam Young? What grade would you give Cam Young? No, this is like your mom handing out grades to her own child.
I just want to say, I know Pendy finished a lot better, but entering today, there were 2 players under par for the tournament on the Green Mile. It was Pendy and Cameron Young. So I just want to throw that out there and say again, when the going gets tough, I will take Cam Young against anybody. It's when the going is easy for everybody that things might start unraveling. But a made cut, and did not 4-putt to miss the cut on the 16th hole of Friday, unlike last time. So I will give him a C+ just for being around.
He finished T47 next to Rory.
Yeah, I think he was.
Rory were given like
today.
Rory were given like D- or these bad grades, and Cam Young you're given a C+. That's such is life, such as a burden of expectations, I suppose. What else? Any other PGA thoughts?
I thought for something that I imagined, I feel like a lot of people just thought was going to be a snoozer today. I
couldn't believe that.
I was really, it got good for a little while there. Like it ended up being a deserving major Sunday.
I didn't want Scottie to lose it, if that made sense. I would I didn't want Scott. I was fine if Rahm won it, but the way Scottie, if he's just gonna hit it left all day and lose, I thought that would be kind of a bummer. I would have been fine with Rahm winning, but I'm glad he actually reasserted himself. I wish Rahm would have kept it up on him. So
no, and that's the thing. I feel like everybody falls into the Wikipedia trap that, as Andy said, like Bryson, the 5 years from now, when we forget all context of this, like John Rahm did not really finish 5 shots back of this. Whatever.
Yeah.
6 shots back, whatever it was. Like,
Yep.
I think this for a tournament that we were questioning the amount of juice coming in and certainly questioning the amount of juice waking up on Sunday morning. It was a good hour and a half there that it got really, really entertaining.
That's what you want. You want a little action, and that's never going to hit the standard, I don't think, ever again of Sunday at the Masters. But it was good. We had an hour and a half, like you said. The next one we will be at, as you said, PJ is going to be there. Maybe in mind and spirit, body, maybe, I don't know. You're anxious about this, but we'll get it dialed in. We got a good setup at this brewery in Oakmont, Local Remedy. We're gonna be there. We're gonna have a merch.
I'm excited to be out.
It'll be awesome. We have our own
a beer
brew for the week. You don't drink beer.
No.
You don't drink coffee, but it's called, I can't remember the name of it. Damn it. I can't remember the name. Some golf term, as you can imagine. Cool little fried egg label. So it's a cool space. The place is like only a year old.
Moving
Day Ale or something like that. So we're going to be recording there. We're going to have like merch. We're going to have our own beer. Awesome owner. Like, I know that they're really cool setup. Good food nearby. It's going to be a cool setup. So if you're coming to the US Open or thinking about coming, we're going to be there, I think, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and it's right next to the course. You can walk down the hill or drive down the hill. It's a cool spot on a main strip that's going to have a lot of action, closed down in town in Oakmont. So that's the next major. Pumped about this one. It's
gonna be good.
Any other thoughts? Closing thoughts, PJ? I don't have Andy here. I want to give you actually the floor.
I don't know if I have any closing. I'm happy.
We're disappointed in the engraver. Why wasn't he ready?
Oh my
Why
God.
were they like Trevor and Nance had to vamp?
I mean, they took Scottie's odds off the board after like 15. Like,
right.
It was over. It was all good. Like, I don't think anybody. I guess once you do one of those things, it's pretty final. But even then, it still was like 15 or 20 minutes after it was over.
That's true.
Gave Don some time to prep his speech. That's the mental way I'm taking it. But no,
we did find footage of him as an umpire or doing some sort of umpire.
Maybe we'll lay that in. Maybe that would be on the soundboard. But it was good. I'm glad. I'm glad Scottie won. I think it's cool to get him out of the Augusta bubble and threatening for Oakmont. And I am John Rahm keeps up his top 10 streak. So that's what really matters at the end of the day.
That's true. All right. That does it for another PGA week. You think ratings are going to be hit by, not our ratings, but TV ratings hit by the Game 7 thing? A lot of people were messaging me about that.
No, that was like a blowout too. They were up like 17 at halftime. But
it's still Game 7 of an NBA. I don't know. Not ideal. CBS
right at halftime was pretty much right when things got good. So I feel like it might kind of, even if you're leaving from halftime, you're going to the golf.
Yeah, that may be true. And you go and stick.
Yeah.
Carpenter said like they had like an insane amount of shots. CBS. I thought ESPN was good on the weekend. I thought they were really good. And
do you want to do Freebird minute? What the hell was that? Like, literally, why was it? They spent all of the licensing budget on Leonard Skinner, which is like, fine.
They cleared that. They spent so much money to clear that, and then they probably
they didn't have any
3 times a day. They went to breaks.
It might have been more.
Is that because a quail's a bird?
That's what we came up with. That's what Cameron and I landed on, but I don't know if that's right or not. But I don't know. I will say, objectively speaking, if it was not the 90th time I had heard it in the last 4 days, the Open on ESPN today of Scottie highlights with the Freebird guitar solo, that was sick.
That's cool.
That was sick. Cool. It was great. Yeah. But there was just a lot of Freebird, and I have a lot of questions.
The Turtles, the Freebird, they did a lot of that. But I guess CBS showed 412 shots as opposed to 337 from the Masters. They were cooking. I thought they did a great job. It's just, it rose to the moment for sure. We're on to NBC for Oakmont and the Portrush and the Open. So, all right. Thank you. We'll be back Wednesday. We're going to Colonial. Blocky's in the field. Allegedly, Corey Pavin, Olin Brown, David Frost, have they WD'd yet? Are they still
Not
hanging
that I've
on?
seen.
All right, we're moving on. Scottie's staying in the field. Blocky's in the field. Thank you for your support of the Shotgun Start this PGA week. Every night, we had a good audience. We really appreciate it. We're going to take it to Oakmont. Talk to you guys then.